Universal credit, Alison Thewliss, if I may talk to you about that. It is, I mean, your party wants the rollout halted until what you call fundamental flaws have been fixed. Now, he might be, it's suggested that he might be announcing something today that could reduce the delay from 6 weeks before the first payment to possibly 4 or 5.
That would help, certainly, but it wouldn't fix the fundamental problems of universal credit. And a lot of that is to do with simply the amount of money that people are getting at the end of the day. It doesn't actually pay people to go out and work, because universal credit is an in-work benefit. You can get that while you're working. And it's squeezing people so much that they're being forced to go to food banks. And it's also causing huge problems in terms of housing arrears. So because the people have to wait to get that money, they're going into huge housing debt, and it's of over £1,000, I think, is the average per person housing debt that people are carrying, which is huge.
Do you acknowledge it has been a success in terms of getting more people back into work and them staying in work longer?
There's not a huge amount of evidence actually to support that. Where there has been an increase, it's been pretty marginal, and the cost to everybody else has been absolutely huge in terms of the damage that's doing, and it is driving people into food bank use, which is absolutely soared under this government. There's now more than 1 million food packages being given out a year, and that was never the case before.
You know, the DWP said there are complex reasons for why people use food banks. Do you want to see some help for those who are waiting a long time to get their first payment when it comes to universal credit?
Well, I think the first thing to say about universal credit is the concept of universal credit, wrapping all these very complex benefits into one, is one supported by all major parties and all people who look at this in the sector. I do think that it's important that we can move that 6 weeks wait down to 4 or 5 weeks. I think that would help. But also, the government's taken a pretty sensible approach with this. Usually, big government projects get rolled out too quickly and get screwed up as a result. This government is doing it slowly and proportionately so that we can effectively adapt to universal credit as it is being rolled out over time.
Well, the problem is it hasn't been adapting well enough, and if you look at the case in Inverness, where it's been in operation and the rollout has been going on for some years, my colleague Drew Hendry has seen that as the leader of Highland Council and now as an MP, that the lessons haven't been learned and that people are still facing absolute torturous waits and being forced to food banks, being forced into poverty, losing their tenancies as a result of the way that universal credit works.